and welcome to episode 44 of the Giddy Knits podcast. Today is Saturday the 6th of July, and as usual I'm Helen. I am coming to you as always from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 5.5, and Jasper, who is 2.5. And yeah, welcome. I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns. That is what I do, and this is kind of my crafty podcast where I share all my knitting and crochet and whatever I'm working on at the moment, although I think it is all knitting this week. Yeah, welcome again. This intro has taken me forever. This is, yeah, it's been one of those weeks where it took me forever to set up. Kids interrupted, the kids are home, Tom's got them downstairs. They interrupted, it took forever to set up, and then I messed up recording, and then I recorded again for like a second time to try and do it, and I realised my camera wasn't even turned on. Clean slate. Hopefully this time will work. So welcome to anyone that has watched before and has come back. You know the rambliness that is my podcast. And to anyone that is new and checking me out for the first time, I really hope you enjoy what you see, and I hope the crazy ramblingness doesn't put you off. Right, okay, so what have I got for you this week? Goodness knows. Let me start by telling you where you can find show notes, because I always forget that. So show notes can be found in our Ravelry group, which is the Giddy Knits podcast Ravelry group over on Ravelry, obviously. And you can find that by searching in the groups tab. Just put in Giddy Knits podcast and it'll come up, hopefully. And what else? I can't remember. On my website. Show notes can also be found on my website. I told you it was going to be one of those weeks. Yeah, show notes can also be found on my website, but those will be linked down below in the drop down bar underneath. So yeah, let's just get into it before I get completely and utterly dismantled and all over the place. So what have I got for you this week? I'm going to start off with some announcements, and I will be announcing the winners of the prizes for our Summer Shorties knit along that has been running for the last 2 months, because that is now finished. And then I've got some finished objects, I've got some works in progress to share, I've got a new cast on to share, I'm going to share a little bit of blanket progress, I'm going to share a little bit of future knitting this week, because I don't actually have that much knitting content. I've got a tiny bit of yarny goodness, and then I will talk a little bit about some shop news. I've got quite a few new things coming into the shop and upcoming things that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so let's go straight into the announcements. So, the announcements, right. I need to take a breath now before I delve into this, don't I? Right, yes, we were running the Summer Shorties sock club has been running throughout May and June, which was a collaborative knit along with Lily of the Nordic Stitches podcast, and she's actually just re-released her podcast, so you can find new episodes now on her Nordic Stitches YouTube channel. Now Lily has already drawn pattern prizes from the FO thread, which was in her Ravelry group, and I am going to draw 2 physical prizes for the winners of the chatter thread and the FO group. Anyway, right, I'm sorry, my brain is really fried with this knit along. It's kind of, I just kind of remembered it at the last minute and suddenly thought I need to get this sorted. So yeah, I am drawing a prize from the chatter thread and a prize from the FO thread, and they will be physical prizes. So let me start. So the prize from the chatter thread is 2 little mini bundles. So you've got these 2 mini bundles. So this one here is a set of my Spring Garden collection, and these are 10-gram minis. And this one here is a set of my Bedtime Story collection. And again, these are all 10-gram minis. So the winner of that is post number 9 in the chatter thread, and that was Catriona Eileen. I will pop up on the screen your Ravelry name so that if you didn't hear, you will see it. So if you've won a prize, get in contact with me either on Ravelry or Instagram. They're probably the best places, and I will get the prize shipped out to you. So congratulations to you. And the winner of from the FO thread, I don't have a physical prize, because what I am going to do is, if the winner of the FO thread gets in contact with me, I will let you choose a skein of yarn from my shop. So whatever, my shop is quite well stocked at the moment. So whatever you like from my shop, and I will send it your way. And the winner from the FO thread is post number 7, and that was Blue and White Cat. So congratulations to you. And as with the other prize, if you get in contact with me either on Ravelry or on Instagram, I will send the prize out to you. So thank you so much for taking part. It was really fun to see all the shorty socks being knit up, especially the ones that were knit up in my yarn. That was really, really nice. And yeah, I need to have a little think about another knit along, maybe for later on in the summer. I need to come up with some ideas. Right, let's move on to the other knitting bits. So I have got 2 finished objects to share with you this week. So we will move on to finished objects. And my first finished object needs to be put back on the sock blockers slightly more neatly. My first finished object are these, and these are my Honeybee Dance socks, which is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. And yeah, I have a lovely finished object. So I knit these using yarn from the Lay Family Yarn and Friends mini skein club. And this one was obviously, so you had 3 mini skeins from Kelly at Lay Family Yarns, and this one had 3 mini skeins from Betsy Makes. And I will bring it a little bit closer so hopefully you can see the colours. So I made them match, but yeah, I really enjoyed how this pattern worked with minis as kind of scrappy socks. The pattern repeat itself is about 12 rows, and that worked perfectly with kind of putting the mini skeins in. So I was really pleased with how these worked. And as I mentioned before, the 6th mini skein, this one here, was a little bit more variegated and a little bit more crazy, and I could kind of see that it was going to be quite a pooling colourway. So I decided I would just keep that one for heels and toes, and I quite like my crazy little heels and toes. And this pattern was one of my Make 9 patterns for this year. So the Make 9 is kind of a it's an Instagram challenge initially, and the idea is that at the beginning of the year you pick 9 projects that you want to work on that year. But the lovely Emma of Eldenwood Craft is hosting a Make 9 knit along, and she basically has you pick out at the beginning of the year 9 projects. Although this year she was much kind of kinder with it, and you were able to pick out categories. So like you could say you wanted to knit a garment, or you could have like 3 garments, 2 shawls and 4 pairs of socks or something, if that adds up to 9. But I picked a few random things, as in, like I said, I'd like to knit a garment for me, I want to knit a hat for me, that kind of thing. But these were a specific pattern that I actually put on my Make 9, because I really wanted to knit up this pattern, and I have done. So that is another one of my Make 9 ticked off. And then my other finished object is the wrong way around. Hang on, let me work out, make sure I'm showing you the right side. There we go. Is this one here, and this is my PPS, which is also known as the Pattern Please shawl, which is a pattern by Louise Tilbrook, and I loved knitting this. This was such a fun, relaxing knit. It's kind of like knitting a giant mitered square with a few increases and decreases at either end as you're knitting. And yeah, it was just really satisfying. And technically this one is a shop sample. So the yarn I used, this central yarn, this sort of main colour here, is my Sea of Adventure colourway, which is part of the new Bedtime Story collection. And the mini skeins I used are the May Blooms, which was my May mini skein bundle. But actually I think this colourway would work just as well with my February Fever mini skein bundle, the pink ones, which are also in the shop. But yeah, I loved this, loved knitting this. It's one of the rare one of the rare projects where I was actually slightly disappointed when I finished it because I didn't have it to work on anymore. And I could imagine myself knitting multiple ones of these in just a variety of different colours. Such a lovely pattern. And a really nice kind of wearable spring size. I mean, I love a big shawl, don't get me wrong, but this is actually quite a nice kind of spring wearable size, just as a little shawl. Yeah, really, really, really pleased with it. I nearly dipped it in my tea. I don't want to do that. So they are my 2 finished objects for this week, but I do have a few works in progress to share with you. So let me look at my show notes because I can't remember what works in progress I've got to share. Oh yeah, okay, these 2. So I will start with the slightly less exciting one that I've not done a lot of work on. And that is my sample sock. I haven't done much. I think I put the heel in when I last. I don't think I put a progress keeper on this to show you where I was. I should have done, shouldn't I? So I'm knitting this again. This is a sample sock because it is a sample of one of my colorways. So this is the Cactus flower colorway, one of my new 3-stripe self-striping colorways. And yeah, it's just my basic vanilla sock knitting at the moment. This is the one that has been brought to the park, but unfortunately my children are at that awkward age where Arthur is fine. He would go off and play at the park. He would go and play and I'd be able to sit and just watch and it would be fine. Jasper is at that wonderful age at the moment where he is determined to do everything that he is slightly too small for, so he needs help with it all. So every time I sit down and get my knitting out, it's like, Mummy, help me. It's like, okay, fine. I'm not going to get to knit at the park. So they're not getting a lot of progress at the moment, to be honest. But hopefully it's the summer holidays now, so hopefully I will get a little bit more progress because there'll be a lot more park trips and things like that. So, not the most exciting of works in progress, but it's had a bit of progress. I won't show you my Pure Joy shawl this week because I haven't actually added anything to that because I have been working on a few other things. But one of the things that has had a significant amount of progress this week is my So Faded. So this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it is the So Faded sweater. I am knitting the kind of classic sweater length, so just a classic length sweater, and I think I'm going to do 3/4 length sleeves because I just find those a really nice wearable sleeve. And this is a fingering weight sweater knit at quite a loose gauge, so it doesn't need to be super warm for winter. But I have made quite a significant chunk of progress on this since I last showed you. So when I showed you on the podcast last, I was just where this little sheep progress keeper is. So I have added, a significant chunk on this, and I am really enjoying it. There's the front. So as you can see, you can clearly see kind of the 4 colours in this at the moment. I have just started the 5th colour, but you can't quite see kind of the separation from the fade yet, if that makes sense. So this kind of section here is the fading section, but I've not really started knitting it on its own yet, if that makes sense. But I've got about 4 inches to go for the whole thing, I think. I think there's about 2 inches in the colour I'm currently knitting in, and then 2 inches of rib to finish it off at the bottom. And then I just need to knit the sleeves. I've not quite worked out how to knit the sleeves. That sounds really stupid, doesn't it? Now, she gives you a formula for working the body. She gives you a formula for doing the fade as you work down the body. So basically, you work out kind of the full length of your garment that you want, and then you divide that by the number of colorways, and it gives you an idea as to like how much of each colorway you need to knit. So I'm guessing that I kind of just do the same with the sleeves, really, and it will be with 4 colours, because, or was it be 4 colours? Yeah, it will be 4 colours because this top colour doesn't get included in the sleeves, because as you can see here, you separate for the sleeves once you're in the second colour. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll probably just work out a formula so that I get even fades, but then it won't necessarily match the body, but I'll get all of the colours in to the sleeves. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, really, really pleased with this, really pleased with how this is coming on, and it has been getting a significant amount of work. I'm on to the last colour, as I said, which is this one here. And this is Absolutely Alice, and this one's from Down Sheepy Lane. I went through all the colours in the last episode, so they will be in the show notes. But I'm really looking forward to having this done and being able to wear it. I'm hoping it fits okay. I've not been able to try it on because I've still got it. I have it on short needles, and I tend to work on fixed circulars. I don't have an interchangeable set. I quite like fixed circulars, but obviously the disadvantage of that is that it's quite hard to try things on. And I think even with a 100cm cable, I think I would struggle to try on a large garment. Getting it over my shoulders would be really, really awkward. So yeah, that's my So Faded. I've got lost now. Where am I at? I'm gonna have a sip of my really cold tea. Ugh, I really do dislike cold tea. Right, so next, new cast on. I do have one new cast on. I've got fluff all over my nose now. So I cast on a new pattern, and this is the Find Your Own Direction scarf, which is a brand new pattern by a lovely friend of mine, Erin, who is the dyer behind Erin Penny Makes. She's local to me, and this is her lovely new pattern. See if I can get this to show nicely. Here we go. So it is a really, really lovely lace scarf, just quite a thin scarf. Obviously, once you block it out, this will block out a lot straighter. And I have got a ridiculous number of ends on the back at the moment. But the thing that is really, really, really lovely about this is it is designed to use up scraps. So the pattern repeat is an 8 row repeat, and you just change colours each section. So I am just using up loads and loads of scraps, and I'm planning to make this quite long, and then I will fold it. You know how you've kind of fold a scarf in half like that and then tuck the ends back through when it's round your neck? Do you know what I mean? I haven't got a scarf to kind of show you how to do it. How I mean, I guess I could show you with this. So basically, where you kind of take your scarf like that and then tuck the ends through like that. That's kind of how I think I would wear this. But it's just going to be really, really pretty and really fun. And it's so nice to have a use for those kind of teeny tiny little remnants of yarn. Each section takes all of about, she says in it how many she uses. I haven't got that piece of paper, but I'm pretty sure she said that each section uses only kind of 2 to 3 grams of yarn. So it really is kind of the scraps of the scraps, if that makes sense. In fact, the colour I'm using now, I'm using up like this tiny little bit of yarn. And there's a real variety of different colourways in here. Some of them early ones are from the advent calendar I had from Down Sheepy Lane last year. And then I'm starting to add a few kind of other random ones that I've received in swaps or leftovers from things that I've made. But yeah, it's just going to be really fun. It's a really relaxing knit. It's a really fun knit. Yeah, ideal scrappy project, really. I would recommend it. So that is my lovely new cast on, which has been seeing a lot of attention. And I've got in my little bag here, I've got like a whole load of just different random little tiny scraps. And these will all get added in at some point, along with probably quite a few others. But it's really nice. I'm really enjoying scrappy projects at the moment, because what I really like is even from a mini skein. So for example, the mini skeins that I bought from Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane that I'm doing Arthur's blanket out of, each of those mini skeins are probably going to go into 4 projects. So I'm using them for Arthur's blanket, and then I will put them into, I will crochet up a square for my Battenberg blanket. They'll go into my new mitered square blanket, and they'll go into this. So that's 4 projects, in fact 5 projects, because then whatever is left over from this I am putting into a magic knot ball, and I'm going to start a big kind of crocheted blanket where I'm going to hold together 2. I've got one big magic knot ball that's nearly 200 grams, and I'm currently making another magic knot ball that's going to be similar. And then the idea is that I'm going to hold 2 strands of those magic balls together and crochet up just a great big granny square blanket. So that'll be 5 projects that they will go into. So really, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Anyway, let's move on from new cast-ons to share a little bit of blanket progress. That was one of the things I was going to share. And I just wanted to share with you, and I'm actually halfway through a square, which is really bad timing to show you. But I've done a little bit of work on my new mitered square blanket, which I shared last week. So ignoring that one, which I will just take off. So here we go. All of the squares with stitch markers on are new squares that have been added in since I last showed you, and I'm currently working on this square, which I'll finish off today. I've been trying to do a square a day. I've been trying to do it, kind of start it in the mornings when I'm in bed, seeing as there's no school run to do. It's been quite nice just being able to kind of let the kids watch a bit of TV in the mornings while I do a little bit of this and maybe catch up on a podcast or something like that. They're a real mix of colourways. I think this one here is one of mine. This was the Sea of Adventure colourway. This was one of the colours I used for my Natalie Gnome. Then I think a number of these are all down Sheepy Lane. I think that one there was I don't know what that one was. I don't think that's one of the ones from Debbie from down Sheepy Lane. And this one here, I'm pretty sure is one of the ones from, yeah, that's one of the ones from the socks that I've just finished. And this one here is a Lay Family Yarns, and I know that colourway is Atlantis. I knit a pair of shorty socks with that colour. But yeah, I'm really enjoying having one that I can just put whatever I want into it, and it isn't a sample. It's really fun, just really satisfying little knit. And I thought I'll share that each time with kind of, if I've made a few squares, so just so you can see what squares are getting added to it. So that is everything that is currently on my needles at the moment that I've shared. There's a couple of other things. Well, there's my other shawl, which let me just pop that stitch marker away before I lose it. There's my Pure Joy, but as I said, I haven't done anything else to that. And then obviously there's my other blankets, but I haven't done anything else to them either, so I won't bother sharing those. So I just wanted to share a little bit of future knitting, because there's 2 things that I have currently caked up and popped into project bags, which I am hoping to cast on as soon as I can, really. The first of those is some yarn for a pair of socks. So I have caked up this lovely sock set here from Kelly at Lay Family Yarns, and this was the colourway she did for the Flower Power Fund with the mini there, and it is the Crocus colourway. It's Kelly's label there. Let's see if you can see. Yeah, it is the Crocus colourway, and these are going to become a pair of woo, caught it. A pair of Forever and Always socks, which is a pattern by Danny of Little Bobbins, and I absolutely love the pattern. It's a really simple sock with a cable down each side, but the cable kind of twists between stocking stitch and garter stitch, which just looks really, really pretty and really, really fun. And they are another pattern that are on my Make 9. So yeah, I'm going to get those cast on hopefully this evening, but goodness knows whether I will. And then the other thing I have caked up ready to cast on is yarn for the, is it the Jus shawl? It's spelled I think it's spelled L-J-U-S, but it's a brand new shawl by Therese of Brixton Pearl, and it was created in collaboration with Debbie of Down Sheepy Lane, who has dyed the yarn. So if I show you this, you can just about see if it will focus. This is the shawl here. So it uses 100 grams of the main colour. And I actually purchased the yarn kit from Debbie for this. So I have the yarn that was used in the pattern, which I'm not sure I've ever actually done before. So this is the main colour. It's a really kind of subtle undyed with beautiful speckles. And then you pair that with five 10-gram mini skeins, which are these 5 here. Yeah, really lovely colours, and they do kind of the stripes. So I'm really looking forward to casting that on as well. I just think it's such a lovely combination of yarns and colours, and the pattern itself looks really nice to knit. So that will be my next shawl cast on, hopefully, again, when I get time. So that is my future knitting. I have got a little bit of yarny goodness living up in my little basket here. And this is the Tim Burton Yarn Club from Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane, who, as usual, I seem to be talking about all the time. But this is her most recent one, and this was the Corpse Bride? Yes, it was the Corpse Bride. And I ordered it on DK, and here it is. It's absolutely gorgeous, really lovely. And I think this would work really well as like a coordinating colour in like a colourwork, a DK colourwork kind of pattern. I'm kind of tempted to knit the, is it the Pop Crop? No, is it the Pop Crop Cardi, or is it there's a, I don't know. I can't remember the name of it, but there is a colourwork kind of cropped sweater that looks like really nice colourwork, and I know you can knit it with like a variety of different sort of DKs and stuff like that, and I think this might work really nicely as one of the colours for that. So once I have mastered colourwork, we will give that a go. But the colourway is called Emily, and it's just, yeah, it's lovely. And she sent a little thing, a little stitch marker on there and the little thing, and it says, "Can a heart still break once it's stopped beating?" I love Corpse Bride. It's one of my favourite Tim Burton films, and I'm really looking forward to the next month because it's House of Peculiar Children, Mrs. Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children, which I've seen the film of and thoroughly enjoyed, and I did not realise it was Tim Burton, so that is a bonus. So yeah, that is all my yarny goodness for this week. See, I've been good. I've spent less money. Right, yes, so that is all the kind of yarny content that isn't shop related. So I'm going to move on now to a little bit of shop news. Let me just move a few little bits around. I've got a couple of bits that I just want to talk about, and then I was going to show you a few bits that are available in the shop. So I'll just move my box here. So first of all, I announced on Instagram this week, it must be this week, on the 1st, I announced on Instagram this week an exciting new Christmas collaboration that I have put together. I had a crazy idea a few months ago about, I really wanted to do like a collaborative advent calendar with mini skeins from a variety of different dyers. But this year, I think just with my own advent calendars and with Jasper not being in school or nursery yet, it just wasn't practical. So I decided I'd give it a go with a 12 Days of Christmas collaboration. So I reached out to a number of different UK dyers, and yeah, everyone said yes. So that is brilliant. So we are putting together what I'm calling the 12 Days of Christmas charity selection box. So 25% of the proceeds, I'm trying to be really transparent with kind of, it's approximately 25%. So basically the boxes will retail at £50. £48 of that is yarn cost, £2 of that is packaging costs. So kind of all the boxes that they'll be shipped in, the bags that they'll be shipped in, the things that they'll be posted in, basically the packaging kind of costs. So 25% of the yarn cost, so 25% of that £48 will be going to charity. So £12 from every box will be going to charity. And we have picked 12, no we haven't, we've picked 12 dyers. We've picked 3 charities. I wanted to pick charities for whom, so that support people that would find kind of Christmas time particularly challenging, particularly lonely. Yeah, basically. So the charities I've picked, the first one is called Contact the Elderly, and they're all UK based charities, and they're all UK wide as well. There were a couple of charities that I looked at that actually only kind of supported England and Wales, and I was like, well, that's no good because I'm in Scotland now, so I want charities that support Scotland too. So they are UK wide charities. So the first one, as I said, is Contact the Elderly, and they are involved in kind of supporting elderly people within the community, and they do a lot of befriending services and encouraging elderly people to get out in the community, encouraging them to social events and to socialise, and they're trying to kind of prevent the social isolation that can come with ageing, basically. And yeah, so they do a lot of really good work. And then the other charity I've chosen is Action for Children, and their basic concept is that they help children. In any way that children need helping, they help children. So they deal with a lot of adoption. They support people with adoption. They support people with fostering. They support children kind of in every aspect. So they support children who are sort of living in environments that are not ideal. I can't think of the word I want. Disadvantaged. They support disadvantaged children. They support children who are in foster care systems. They support children who don't have families and children who need a bit of extra support, basically. So again, a really good charity, hopefully to support. And then the final charity is Shelter, who obviously, I mean, Shelter are a massive charity, I think everybody knows, but they are a really big homeless charity. So they support a lot of people who are homeless, from those that are living on the streets to families who have lost their home and need to find emergency housing, and that kind of thing. So again, hopefully a really, really good charity to support. So yeah, the boxes will be limited. There will only be 30. And I'm calling it a selection box because obviously you're getting a selection of yarn from a variety of different dyers, but also the theme is kind of sweet treats. So it's like the idea, you know, you get a selection box at Christmas, a bit like Quality Street, or even like, you know, get a box of milk tray and you can just pick your favourite bits, but it's all a bit of a mixture. So yeah, it's a charity selection box. All the colourways will be inspired by sweet treats, so sweets or chocolate or sort of that kind of thing. I have given the dyers all complete leeway. I've kind of said, I want you to represent your brands. I want it to be all about you within the theme, but feel free to be creative. If the idea of dyeing up a colourway inspired by sweets doesn't really fit with your brand, find a creative way to make it fit the theme. So I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. I really can't. The boxes will be going on sale as a pre-order at the beginning of August. So on the 1st of August, I will be listing the boxes for sale, and they will ship out kind of the beginning of November, hopefully. Yeah, but as I said, there will only be 30 because my house is not that big. I'm going to have all my own advents. The thought of having boxes and boxes, it's going to fill my house. So yeah, so that is what is happening. Shall I tell you who the dyers are? That would be a good way of doing it. Now, the stupid thing is, I haven't written down, I think they might be in this book. They are, good. I was going to say, I had this really bad feeling that I was going to start telling you all the dyers and I was going to forget somebody and it was going to be really embarrassing, but I have got them written down. So here we go. These are actually written in alphabetical order as well, because I didn't want people to think that I was putting higher priority on different people, because I don't know. So whenever I've listed them in alphabetical order because I figured that's just the easiest way to do it. So to start with, we have got Hannah of the Corner of Craft, and she dyes yarn under Chromatic Yarns. And Hannah dyes, most of her yarns are inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. So there is Hannah at Chromatic Yarns. We have got Ellie from the Corner of Craft. In fact, going back to Hannah, Hannah has a podcast who you probably all know because she has a massive podcast, The Corner of Craft. She also creates the beaded stitch markers, which I have shown on the podcast a few times before. So then we have Ellie at Craft House Magic. Ellie, a lot of Ellie's yarns are inspired and named for music. 80s songs in particular are one of her favourites. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing kind of what she comes up with. And Ellie also has a podcast, Craft House Magic podcast, that you can find on YouTube. And she also sells gorgeous, gorgeous project bags and things like that. I wonder if I've actually got anything on them. A lot of the needle cozies, there we go. A lot of the needle cozies that I've been using recently are from Ellie at Craft House Magic. Then we have Angie at Game of Crafting, and Angie also has a podcast. Everyone has podcasts, don't they? So Angie has a podcast over on YouTube, and so Angie's brand is obviously Game of Crafting, as I just said. A lot of her colorways are inspired by computer games and fandoms and kind of everything geeky, and I love it. And she has a podcast. She does some amazing short videos which I really, really love on specific topics. So she's kind of done one about being a yarn dyer. She's done them about various kind of yarn dyeing topics and things like that, which I find really, really interesting. And she also does live streams, which I've not managed to catch, but she does kind of live streams where her and her wife play computer games, and they just chat about yarn and stuff at the same time as kind of playing through a variety of different computer games. And what a lot of people don't know about me is that both me and my husband we quite like our computer games. We're quite big gamers. Which is, if you meet my son, if you ever meet Arthur, it wouldn't surprise you really, because Arthur is Mario obsessed at the moment. Absolutely Mario obsessed. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's downstairs playing Mario right now. But yeah, I've not played as much in recent years since having the kids and since kind of taking up knitting. But yeah, we are both quite big computer gamers. So yeah, there's that one. Then we've got Lola at Third Volt Yarns, who is another dyer who, these aren't in alphabetical order. I thought these were in alphabetical order. They're not. I'm just reading them off the sheet. We've got Lola at Third Volt Yarns, and Lola dyes, again, really kind of fantastic geek-inspired, nerd-inspired kind of fandom-based yarns. And if you remember, I picked up a couple of skeins of hers at Unravelled this year with the aim to knit a few bits and pieces for Tom. Then we have Kelly at Lay Family Yarns. She is joining in, and you'll all know Kelly's yarn. I've shared Kelly's yarn. So Kelly was the dyer who did the Lay Family Yarn and Friends mini skein club, and the new cast on socks that I'm going to be doing are in Kelly's yarn. Kelly is very much a family business. Her daughter now dyes yarn. I'm pretty sure her husband dyes yarn sometimes. He has in the past dyed some amazing sock blanks, if I remember rightly. So thank you so much, Kelly, for joining in. Then we have Tracy at Norwich Jones Yarns, who I don't think really needs much introduction at all. She dyes absolutely stunning yarns as well. A real kind of mix of, if I had to kind of, she's done a lot of Harry Potter colorways, but she also does kind of a lot of English country garden colorways. She's got a real range of kind of really pretty pastels and speckled colorways, and yeah, gorgeous colorways. Then we have Erin at Erin Penny Makes, and Erin is the designer behind the scarf that I showed you, my new cast on recently. And Erin has a love of bright colours. She dyes a lot of kind of brightly coloured yarns, and they are stunning. So I can't wait to see what she comes up with. Then we have Leona at Rusty Ferret, who is another local, she's a Dundee-based dyer. You probably all know of Leona and Rusty Ferret, and she dyes some amazing colours. Again, she does a lot of kind of bright colours and a lot of things like that, but I always kind of think of Leona's aesthetic as kind of, she always makes me think of like a graffiti artist on yarn. Does that make sense? They're very, very modern colourways and absolutely gorgeous. Then we have the lovely Kate of Joni Unravelled. Now, Kate is a very, very small business. She was recently Dyer of the Month at Perlero, and her yarns are absolutely gorgeous. Kate still works, I'm pretty sure she works full time, and it's very much kind of an early business sort of stage for Kate. But her yarns are absolutely stunning. And yeah, I can't wait to see what she comes up with. She's another dyer who a lot of her yarns are named after songs. And then we have Debbie at Down Sheepy Lane, whose yarns you will have seen hundreds of times on this podcast because I buy far too much of them. But Debbie dyes a lot of colourways inspired by popular culture, that would be the term. She's got a gorgeous range of Stranger Things colourways that she's just released with the new Stranger Things series being released. I absolutely love her Tim Burton club. She did a Stephen King club last year. So she's got some absolutely gorgeous kind of popular culture reference yarns. And then finally we have Ellen, who was... and again, I'm looking right down at this and I always mispronounce this. So Ellen is known as I can't even say it. I'm really sorry, Ellen. My brain is just not functioning on reading today. Kalakshek Ellen is kind of her business name, and she makes project bags, and she also dyes yarn. She was formerly dyeing yarn as Mrs. Lamb's Yarns. I think she might be just going under the Kalakshek Ellen for everything now, but you may know her as a yarn dyer more as Mrs. Lamb's Yarns, and she is an Aberdeen based dyer, so again she's a relatively local dyer to me. She's a relatively new dyer as well. I think her shop has been open just over a year now, maybe. But yeah, I'm really excited to have everyone on board. And one of the things that I really wanted to do, and I think I've really achieved as well with the dyers that I've got involved, is I wanted a real mix of kind of small businesses who were kind of just starting out or who were still very small scale, to kind of more well-known larger businesses as well. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully I've not rambled my way through that. But I'm really happy with the people that I've got, and I can't wait to see how it all comes together. So anyway, I hope you were as excited as I am by all of that. Right, more things to tell you about. Film Club. Film Club is up. It is this month. Film Club is my self-striping yarn club, which is inspired by Stephen King. No, it's not. Steven Spielberg. Stephen King. It's because I'm talking about Debbie. It's inspired by Stephen King films this year. And the pre-orders for August are now up. They will be closing on the 15th of July so that I can get them dyed up and shipped out. And this month is inspired by E.T., which is a firm favourite of mine. So that is, yep, pre-orders for that are currently available. Advents, I still have Advents in the shop. Please buy my Advents. I have started dyeing up Advents. I had to be really careful about my kind of setting up my camera because I was a little bit worried that I've got a box just down here which has kind of got the first 6 colourways of the Advents in it, and I didn't want to show you those. And actually one of the other things that I've been knitting on that I can't show you is I'm making a very simple kind of just a garter stitch swatch of the colourways as I dye them up, just to make sure that the colour progression is working how I want it to. And it is. And then finally, the other thing I wanted to talk about and announce is that the 16th of July is Gideons' birthday. Gideons will turn 2 on the 16th of July. I can't believe that. That just blows me away that I have been running this business for 2 years now. And when I first started it out, I couldn't have dreamt of kind of being where I am now, doing yarn shows and things like that. I mean, I've still got a lot more growing room. Definitely, there's still a lot more growth I would like to do. But yeah, just to be here 2 years down the line is amazing. But I wanted to mark that in a special way. So I am going to be releasing some sock sets. I'm calling it my, what am I calling it? Summer seaside sock sets. There's a lot of S's. I'm kind of thinking, you know, she sells seashells by the seashore, the shells that she sells are seashells. I'm sure that kind of gave me the whole summer seaside sock sets. Let's stick with all the S's. I did that quite well, didn't I? So I'm going to be releasing 3 colourways, all inspired by the kind of the Great British Seaside and seaside trips to the beach, summer trips to the seaside. I will be releasing them on the 16th of July. I have had a few requests for my 70-gram sock sets to come back, so I thought I would release just 3 colorways of sock sets. They'll be available as 120-gram sock sets or 70-gram sock sets. So that's 100 grams with a 20-gram mini, or sort of 50 grams with a 20-gram mini. I don't know what this is. I think that's 100 grams again, and that's a 20-gram. I don't know. But instead of doing a birthday sale this year, I wanted to do something a little bit different. So my lovely friend Kathy, who I have known since we were at school together, Kathy is a head teacher of a very kind of special school in London. And the charity that she works for is called Red Balloon, and they are a school who specialise in taking on children who have been affected by traumas, who've been affected by very severe bullying, to the point where a lot of them kind of suffer with PTSD and any sort of other trauma related issues, and are unable to attend a mainstream school. So they can go to Red Balloon and they can learn, they follow the normal curriculum and they sort of learn everything that a normal school would, but in a much more comfortable home kind of style environment, a much more kind of relaxed environment that suits their needs. And one of the things that Kathy is really, really pushing for and has found so beneficial to the children at her school is Duke of Edinburgh's award. And it's something that is special to both me and Kathy, because we actually did the Duke of Edinburgh's award throughout school, and we did all 3 levels. So if you're not familiar with the Duke of Edinburgh's award, it was an award set up by the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, a number of, well, I don't even know when, like ages and ages ago, but basically the concept is that you take children, groups of children, and they do hiking and orienteering and camping, and various different kind of outdoor activities. There's also elements of so basically when we did ours, we had to do an expedition, which depending on the level, there's 3 levels: bronze, silver and gold, and depending on the level it was different as to kind of how far you had to walk or how many days it was. So if I remember rightly, like gold is you had to spend 3 nights, silver is 1 night, no, bronze was 1 night camping, I think silver was 2 nights camping, and gold was maybe 3 nights camping. I might have got that completely wrong. It was a long time ago that I did mine. A long time ago now. Yeah, they also have to do they have to do a service. So I can remember working in charity shops, volunteering at old people's homes. Basically there's like a volunteering aspect, a service part of it as well. And then there was like a physical activity part of it as well. So it's a really, really, really good award. And I think one of the major things is it builds so much confidence and builds so much self-esteem. And yeah, it was fantastic. And Kathy and I both absolutely loved it. So anyway, all of that to kind of say that my lovely friend Kathy is raising money in July for her school. It is a charity that she works for. And the aim of it is that the money will go towards providing Duke of Edinburgh's experience for her children. So to do that, she and her 8-year-old daughter are going to be canoeing the Thames. So they're canoeing the non-tidal part of the Thames. So they'll be canoeing from the source of the Thames in Gloucester to the Teddington Lock, which is over 120 miles of canoeing, and they're going to be doing it over 8 days, and they're going to be camping in between at various places along the Thames. And I just think this is amazing. And she was doing it to raise money for the school and the Duke of Edinburgh's, as I sort of just said. And apologies, Kathy, I have rambled this so ridiculously. But basically what I'm trying to say is that from the 16th of July until the end of July, 10% of every order that's made in my shop will be going to Kathy's Just Giving page. So hopefully the sock sets will be kind of a part of that as well. And anything else, not just those, anything else, any sales that I make in my shop from the 16th of July until the end of July, 10% of that will be going to Kathy and the amazing cause that she's raising money for. Anyway, I will leave a link to her Just Giving page in the show notes and just down below as well, so you can find out a little bit more information, and hopefully it will be written in Kathy's wonderful writing as opposed to my rambly nonsense. Anyway, right, done. That is everything that I wanted to share with you, I think. Oh no, I was going to show you the yarn that I have currently got in the shop. So the new thing that's coming up tonight, in fact, which will probably be yesterday, but there should still be more, are my newest gradient minis. And these are the July ones. I'm calling them July Picnics. The colours are kind of inspired by green grass and summer picnics. So these are, yeah, my gradient ones. So these will be in the shop tonight. And then I was just going to say that I have still got all the colours from the Wildflower collection. Oh, I've just dropped one. All the colours from the Wildflower collection, which are all these ones here, are currently in stock, as well as all the colours from the Bedtime Story collection, which are these ones here. So you've got Voyage of the Dawn Treader, you've got George's Marvellous Medicine, you've got the Sea of Adventure, which is the colour I used in my PPS shawl, you've got Secret Garden, and the Railway Children. So yes, they are all currently in stock, as well as a number of other things. Yeah. Anyway, that is it now. I am going to close this up before I ramble anymore. So thank you all so much for watching, if you've stuck it out to this point. And if you've enjoyed what you see, please hit the thumbs up button wherever it is down there somewhere. And if you haven't done so already and would you like to, then please subscribe to the channel so you can be kept up to date with all my videos. And I will see you all again, hopefully in a couple of weeks, depending on how the summer holidays treat me, for more podcasts. Thanks. Bye.